Narratives, power, and the Iran question. Who are the real villains? An oblong media global intelligence analysis. When the noise of propaganda fades and emotions give way to sober reflection, a troubling question emerges from the current geopolitical discourse surrounding Iran, Israel, and the United States. Who exactly are the villains in this story? For decades, a carefully constructed narrative has framed Iran as the principal destabilizing force in the Middle East. In Western political rhetoric and media framing, Iran is frequently portrayed as the epicenter of terrorism, aggression, and regional chaos. Yet, when examined against the historical record, this narrative begins to look less like objective analysis and more like a strategic information campaign designed to justify a broader geopolitical agenda. The central issue is often obscured. Iran's hostility toward Israel did not arise in a vacuum. It is deeply tied to the unresolved question of Palestinian displacement and the continued Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories following the creation of Israel in 1948 and subsequent wars that redrew the political map of the region. For many across the Middle East and the wider global South, Israel is not simply another sovereign state, but an occupying power whose expansion has come at the expense of Palestinian land and sovereignty. Iran's position has been consistent for decades. It refuses to accept the legitimacy of what it views as the dispossession of the Palestinian people. Its support for Palestinian resistance movements has therefore been framed by its leadership not as aggression, but as solidarity with a population they believe has been denied justice under international law. This stance, however, directly challenges the strategic interests of Israel and its principal ally, the United States. In response, a powerful narrative architecture has emerged portraying Iran as the primary threat to global security. But a broader historical perspective complicates that narrative. Since the end of the Second World War, the United States has intervened militarily in numerous countries across Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East. From Korea and Vietnam to Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya, American military campaigns, often justified in the name of defending democracy, combating terrorism, or maintaining international order, have resulted in millions of deaths and the destabilization of entire regions. Israel's record within the Middle East is equally contested. Its wars with neighboring states, its occupation of Palestinian territories, and the repeated cycles of violence in Gaza have produced some of the most enduring humanitarian crises of the modern era. The devastation witnessed in Gaza in recent years has intensified accusations from critics who describe Israeli actions as disproportionate and in violation of international humanitarian norms. Against this backdrop, the attempt to present Iran as the singular source of instability begins to appear incomplete, if not deliberately misleading. Iran has certainly engaged in proxy conflicts and supported armed groups across the region, a fact acknowledged even by its defenders. Yet, unlike the United States or Israel, Iran has not historically carried out large-scale overseas invasions or maintained global networks of military bases projecting power across continents. This reality raises an uncomfortable but necessary question. Why is the language of terrorism so selectively applied in international politics? The answer often lies in the politics of narrative. In modern warfare, the battle is fought not only with missiles and drones, but also with stories that shape public perception, justify alliances, and determine which actors are labeled defenders of order and which are branded enemies of civilization. Within this narrative battlefield, Iran has become a convenient antagonist. Casting Tehran as a permanent threat helps reinforce the strategic alliance between Washington and Tel Aviv, while providing political cover for military operations, sanctions regimes, and diplomatic isolation. But the deeper moral question remains unresolved. If supporting an occupied population is terrorism, what is the term for bombing entire neighborhoods? If defending strategic interest justifies military action, where does the value of human life fit into that calculation? These are uncomfortable questions, but they are questions that the international community can no longer avoid. Because beyond the slogans of security and the language of geopolitical strategy lies a simple truth. The suffering of civilians, whether in Gaza, Iran, Iraq, or anywhere else, cannot be justified indefinitely by the shifting narratives of power politics. Until the world confronts the deeper roots of the conflict, including the unresolved Palestinian question and the competing visions of regional order, the cycle of accusation, retaliation, and war will continue. And with it, the world will remain trapped in the same haunting debates. Who truly stands on the side of justice, and who merely claims that title while wielding the power of the strongest? For more in-depth analysis and to discover a treasure trove of articles, visit my website at www.oblongmedia.net. Thank you.